Welcome, everyone. 6 o'clock, and I am one of those people who likes to start on time and end on time. So my name is CJ Johnson. I wanted to welcome you and thank you for joining me this evening. We're going to go through 3 simple strategies to manage weight and get fit. I want to share with you what's working for people over 50 to stay healthy and fit. And there's the welcome. I'm glad that you're here and you're taking some of this time. And what I want to start off with is I want to start off this promise to you because your time is valuable and I appreciate you being here. Over the next 50 to 60 minutes, if you shut off all of those electronics, eliminate all those distractions, anything that beeps or buzzes, or sometimes those notifications. I know I have my notifications set on my phone and they catch my eye out of the corner of my eye and distract me. If you'd be willing to set those aside for this short time, you're going to leave this webinar excited, inspired, and driven to take action to get that lifelong fitness that starts with habits that you are building today. So put it all aside and let's go ahead and let's jump right in, because you know what? You are in the right place if you're the kind of person who's been thinking about taking control of your health and fitness, but you're really not sure just where to start. Perhaps you're concerned about an injury, or maybe deep down, that place that you don't really tell anyone else, you're thinking that your best days are past you and that you may never get the fitness that you wanted. Or perhaps you can relate just a little bit more to this scenario. You've tried to lose weight and get fit, and sometimes you've had some results, but those results, as well as your motivation, never seem to last for very long, and you're looking for something for the long haul. Now, if this sounded a lot like you and that word motivation really hit you, make sure you pay special attention towards fitness strategy number 3, and I am going to address motivation directly and why it doesn't stay with us for very long. Or maybe you fit a little bit more into the last scenario and you've been pretty successful for most of your life. Once you hit 50, all of it changed. Everything, all those rules, everything that you did before just simply don't work, or don't work as well as they have previously. Keep listening, because I'm going to offer you some fresh perspectives on some of those old thoughts that may just yield some new results. So I want to share with you 3 truths to weight management and fitness after 50. The very first one is this: it's never too late to refocus. I want you to eliminate your thought of I am too old. Eliminate that feeling of I can't do this because I'm too old. I can't do this because too many things have changed. And sometimes that thought is buried way deep down inside, and it comes in a variety of different voices. So be on guard for that particular thought. Now, truth number 2, our bodies have changed. They really are different, and I'm probably not telling you anything that you don't already know. But our habits probably haven't changed to this point in time. And that's what we'll be talking about tonight, because just like your body's changed, your habits can change too. I'm going to show you some simple tweaks that you could do and that you could change to get you the fitness levels that you've been looking for. Now, these aren't something that are super fancy ninja tricks that you're not ever going to be able to figure out, but they're really going to be clear-cut actions that you can apply to what you are currently doing today so that you can have health and fitness for the second half of your life. Now, I said there were 3, and here is truth number 3, the very last one. It really isn't about motivation. And I shared this just a little bit a few minutes ago. We have blamed motivation for a long period of time. So when I get to that lifestyle section, I'm going to share with you one of the things that I have learned along this journey that has helped me to maintain it, where maybe a lot of other people have yo-yoed and gone back and forth. Now, once we get through all of those 3 points, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Fit After 50. This is my 14 years of fitness and weight management knowledge, and it's all wrapped into one program. I have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I'm extremely proud of it because I know it's something that can make a difference in people's lives. And then lastly, we're going to finish this off with a question and answer session. I want you to have the knowledge that you need to make sure that when you leave this webinar, that you can start putting these things into place in your life and start seeing real results. So if you haven't gotten your worksheet already, I put a link up on the side. You can go ahead and download your worksheet, or it was in the email that I set aside or that I sent to you previously. Download that worksheet, take lots of notes. If you've got some questions, you can put those questions up at the end of the webinar, and I will stay around as long as we need to get those answered. Now, before I get into those strategies, let me tell you just a little bit more about who I am and how I got here. I am living my best life ever, and that is me and my significant other will be married 22 years this year. That's my husband, John, and we lead this wonderful, happy life. We live in Lake Tahoe. I am extremely active. I come from the golf industry. That was my background. I had a knack for swinging a golf club, and I turned that into a really great corporate career. I still love to play golf. Skiing is one of my passions, which is why I live in Lake Tahoe. I also recently, within the last 4 years, started teaching pickleball, which is the fastest growing sport for people over 50. And I'm sure many of you are pickleball players who are on this webinar. And that's the way that life is for me today. It's full of family and friends and athletics and fun. But it wasn't always that way. Let me give you a little snapshot of what it used to be like and what changed during that period of time. If you look at the picture on the left, you probably recognize John because he, quite frankly, he hasn't changed a whole lot. I'm the one who's gone through the changes. That's me on the left-hand side. I was 33 years old. And that's a picture of John and I on our honeymoon in Ocho Rios, Jamaica. I was just starting out on a corporate career. As I said, I had a talent for playing golf, and I was able to turn that into a talent for running golf courses. So I entered the management end or the corporate side of the golf business. And my career started taking off. In fact, it started taking off very quickly. Well, not only was my career taking off quickly, so is my body. If you look at the picture on the right, that's only 2 years later. I'm 33 on the left, and I'm 35 years old on the right. As I was focusing on that corporate career, I excluded everything else. I didn't work out. I didn't eat right. I paid no attention to my health and my fitness. And perhaps you can relate to that. You know, if you can, give me a little yes. Very focused on other things inside of my life. And I ended up at age 38, and you can see I am even larger in this picture. At age 38, I thought I'd reached the pinnacle of success. At least I had as far as my career. I'd reached the role of regional vice president, which was a position that very few women, even to this day, in the golf business have reached. And I had multiple responsibilities. I had a large region and was responsible for $10 million plus in revenue for the company at that period of time. I had a lot of people who relied on me for their livelihood and a lot of guests who relied on us for their entertainment. And I took that role extremely seriously. And if you looked on the outside, this picture was for the Business Journal. It was for an award I received for being one of the most watched people under 40. I'd also gotten an award from the Ladies Professional Golf Association as Professional of the Year, and I was recognized by my local chapter of the PGA. And by all accounts, I should have been ecstatic because that was what I worked so hard for. But as you can tell, I was obese and my fitness was totally unmanageable. As I said, I was solely focused on one thing and I excluded my own health. Can you relate to that at all? If you can, put a yes over in the comment section that you kind of come in second place. Well, it was during this point in time, I had been down at the corporate office, which was in Orlando, Florida, and I was on my way home on the flight. It was a particularly arduous 4 days at the corporate office, and I felt I just couldn't wait to get on the plane. There were some things that I needed to get done, and I was looking forward to the 2 or 3 hours of uninterrupted time on my laptop. I pulled out my laptop, sat back on my seat, and I started to type, and the person in front of me reclined their seat. I was so fat that I could no longer see my computer screen. And I remember the feeling of disappointment first because I knew that I wasn't going to get this work done, but really disgust. How had I let myself get so out of control that I had gotten to this point? That's when I started this kind of dangerous game of comparisons, and comparisons to other people can always be dangerous. And I started looking around the people that were my age, and I noticed they didn't look like me. And I started asking myself, how are they doing it? What do they know that I don't know? And quite frankly, it was a bit of a pity pot. Poor me, poor CJ. Why am I in this position? What are they doing? What are these secrets? I know there's a secret because I'm pretty smart and I've figured out a lot of other things inside of my life. Why can't I seem to get a handle on my health and fitness? And all these people made it look so darn easy. How easy is this? It just looked easy to me. And what I had to learn is this: I had to stop looking for an easy button. It wasn't until I got to the point where I was ready to make slow, methodical change that I could really change my health and fitness for good. And this is what I want you to understand. This is what I really want you to grasp as we go through these 3 points. They are foundational habits. That's where I struggled. I was not able to stay in shape because fitness and eating right was just a fleeting fancy. It was just a blip on the radar. I needed to make them foundational habits. Today is not just strategy. Yes, I am going to share some strategies and some tips to help you to make some changes. What I really want you to consider is what prioritizing your health and fitness would feel like for you if you were finally the priority and could focus on your health and fitness. Does it mean that you're important? Because we all know that there's tons of important things in your life, but you're important too. And if you don't take control of your health and fitness, you're putting yourself in your back seat. Also, by taking control of your health and fitness, you're saying, you know what? I might be getting older, but I am not getting old. Older is not a choice. That calendar is changing. But getting old is a choice. You can stay in great shape no matter what the year on your calendar says. It also means that your future is important, because if you want a healthy life, that starts today, building those foundational habits. So if you're multitasking, come back to me and let's get focused. We're going to talk about those 3 key areas of fitness and solving the riddle behind food, fitness, and lifestyle. and how that plays in for people who are over 50. So, number one, let's talk about what we eat. And I got to start with calories, because we've kind of been sold a bit of a bill of goods when it comes to calories. It is, and it isn't about the calories. So first, let me talk about what it is in calories. Scientists agree on very few things, especially when it comes to health and fitness. But this is one thing that they do agree upon, and it's a reduced caloric intake. Simply put, as we get older, our body requires fewer calories. You may have already noticed that. But most of us don't realize exactly what reduced caloric intake does for our bodies. As I said, there's been a multitude of studies done on reduced caloric intake. And I love this quote from one of the researchers on this study. Her name is Rosalind Anderson, and she was a research on a study done on RDC at the University of Wisconsin. And she pinpoints exactly what RDC means to your body. Conventional medicine views aging as a fight against cancer, cardiovascular issues, neural degeneration, and other diseases. Calorie restriction delays the aging and vulnerability. Instead of going after diseases one at a time, you go after the underlying vulnerability and tackle them all at once. Wow. Isn't that a powerful way to describe something that'll give you a foundational habit for overall health and fitness? Now, there probably was a point in time in your life when you might remember this, when you didn't need to focus on calories at all. You probably ate whatever you wanted. When you got a little older, you probably got a little bit wiser, as most of us do. And you started to change what was on your plate. You began making healthier choices. Perhaps it wasn't a burger, but you opted for that piece of white chicken meat, something that was a little lower in calories. But in reality, as our palates changed, so did our budgets, and so did some of our indulgences. We may have changed some of the things we eat, but we started adding some things as well. Perhaps a glass of wine here or there, maybe an appetizer. How about snacking? Maybe we started snacking and we got into fine cheeses or olives or all these different things that a palate and a budget can change for us as we age. So we may have changed the type of things we eat, but we didn't necessarily reduce the number of calories we ate. So think of it this way. We may eat less and not reduce the number of calories because of the types of foods we're eating. So here's a check for you. Are you eating the same way you did 5 years ago? Are you eating the same way you did 10 years ago? If you are, it's not exactly what your body needs. You may have cut down on certain things, but chances are that overall calorie consumption has really not decreased. So RDC, reduced calorie consumption, is our focus on calories. What our focus on calories really isn't, is that not all calories are created equally. We were sold this bill of goods a long time ago that if we just simply counted calories, that's all we had to do, we were going to come out on the right end of this. And you know what? Even though we reduce our calories, it's not just about counting the calories. We need to have the right type of fuel for our bodies. And that's where we need to get into a discussion about macronutrients and how they apply to your body. Now, don't let the words scare you. It's got a very simple meaning. Macronutrients are things that our body needs, foods that our body needs in large amounts. And there are 3 different primary sources of macronutrients. We've got carbs, we've got proteins, and we've got fats. So we're going to tackle these all one at a time so that you get a little understanding of exactly what are the things that your body needs. Now, I want to start with carbs. And carbs, quite frankly, have been sold a pretty big bill of goods. Carbs get a bad rap. And what I want to say is this: carbs are your body's main source of energy. Now, we need to differentiate in our carbs. We have simple carbs and complex carbohydrates. And most of us in our standard American diet, or SAD, right? Standard American diet, SAD. And for most of us, it is very sad. We tend to get too many simple carbs and not enough complex carbs. Examples of simple carbohydrates would be white bread, cereals, enriched flours, sodas, sugar. All of those things our body takes and turns into energy very, very quickly. It doesn't stay with us very long. Complex carbs, on the other hand, are things that we tend not to get enough of. And complex carbs would be things that we get from vegetables and whole grains, things like quinoa, whole wheat breads, and again, whole grains. Complex carbs, also the body takes those, uses them as fuel, breaks them down into energy, but it does it over a slower period of time. Complex carbs also tend to keep us fuller longer. So when we look at the calories that we're putting in our diet, we want to put in more complex carbs and less simple carbohydrates. The next macronutrient that we want to take a look at are lean proteins. Now, again, the typical American diet usually starts with carbs for breakfast. We have a bagel or an English muffin, pieces of toast. Perhaps we're still having cereal. Generally, most people don't eat protein for their first meal of the day. Second meal of the day isn't always protein either. We may have a sandwich, but chances are we're adding in carbs. Perhaps we're throwing in a few French fries. Maybe we have a salad, so we do vegetables, but we don't add salmon or chicken or a fresh lean protein into that. For many of us, we save our protein until our dinner time. And that's the first time that we get protein into our bodies. Now, as a macronutrient, protein is important for all of our muscle building and muscle strength and keeping our bodies fit and tone as far as muscle. The protein aids in the process of turning our fuel and turning our fuel that we're eating into things that our body needs to build muscle. So we need to make sure that we're putting enough protein into our body. And most of us don't get that. If we're waiting till the last meal of the day to have protein, we're probably only getting somewhere around 20 to 30 grams of protein for the whole entire day. I encourage my clients to look at their meals and to see if they can get somewhere between 25 and 30 grams of protein per meal. So that's in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening. So that's going to give people somewhere between 75 and 90 grams of protein a day. Protein is, again, going to help the muscles, but it also helps you to feel fuller longer, and therefore you're going to eat less food. And sources of lean protein can be nuts and fish and lean meats, eggs, vegetables. Vegetables have protein, not necessarily in great quantities, but there are protein inside of different vegetables. So make sure that you're looking at your protein and space your protein throughout the day. Try and get just a little bit more. The last macronutrient is the one that I want to bust a myth on. And we've bought into this myth for far too long. Dietary fats do not make you fat. I'm going to say it one more time because it's that important. Dietary fats do not make you fat. Back in the late 1950s, the sugar industry sold us a bill of goods that said it was fat that was making us fat. That's why we ended up with all of this low fat, no fat, all these different types of fat-free products. These fat-free products may have had less fat, but they were full of calories, almost the same amount of calories, as well as a variety of different additives. Dietary fats, healthy dietary fats, are necessary to our body for a variety of different cell processes and to keep our bodies healthy. Those cells need this. And those are things like nuts and avocados, the omegas in fish, healthy oils like olive oil. Those are all necessary in our diets. So if you have cut way back on those healthy fats, you need to take a look at your healthy fats and make sure that you're incorporating those into our diet. Now, you might be sitting here and saying, hey, CJ, okay, I've got an idea of these different micronutrients and kind of what I have, what I need to have. What is it that makes us fat? Well, I gotta tell you, it's pretty simple. It's that big old bowl of sugar. Sugar is a simple carbohydrate, and right now we are finding sugar in everything. Unfortunately, because of our busy lifestyles, we rely more and more on processed foods. And processed foods tend to be loaded with sugar. So beyond just looking at your macronutrient levels, making sure that you're getting those proper levels inside of your diet, another thing that you want to make sure that you take a look at is what is your sugar consumption. The average female needs around 25 grams of sugar a day, which is about the equivalent of 4 teaspoons. A man, you get just a little bit more. That's about 37.5 grams a day. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? 4 teaspoons? But here's how foods sneak up on us. If you took a standard, like a Chobani, or an over-the-counter yogurt that simply has the fruit on the bottom, most of those have somewhere between 20 and 24 grams of sugar per container. So here you are, if you're a gal, you have almost eaten your entire allotment of sugar in just that one simple carton of yogurt. So if you wanted to eliminate some of the sugar inside of your diet, rely on less processed food and start to read labels. If you see sugar in the first 5 ingredients, look for a different alternative. And really, it is that simple. To build your nutritional habits, those foundational habits that you need to have to maintain your weight for the rest of your life, what you simply need to do is calculate and monitor your caloric needs and understand that all calories are not created equally. What types of calories are you putting in your diet, specifically your combination of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and how much sugar are you adding to your diet? Now, I have a bunch of different examples of eating clean and how to eliminate some of that sugar in your diet with very simple tactics to rely less on processed food. And it's in my book, Eating Clean, How People Over 40 Can Manage Their Weight and Improve Their Fitness. And this is part of the Fit After 50 program, and I'll be telling you about that a little bit later. So if that's something that interests you, make sure that you stick around to the end. So that's strategy number 1. Let's move on to strategy number 2. We've talked about food. Now it's time to talk about fitness. So eating isn't the only thing that we need to adapt and change as we get a little bit older. Now, when we were young, we could get away with a few mistakes that we can't necessarily get away with now. We could exercise intermittently. Perhaps at that point in time, your body responded quickly to increased activity. You know, if you felt your pants getting tight, a few weeks on the treadmill and a little bit of time in the gym, and chances are they were fitting you well again. We also used to be able to go pretty hard at every workout. I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but I was very much an all or nothing kind of person. I was either all into something or it was out on the wayside. And when I went to work out, I worked out at 110% each and every single time. And when I was younger, I was able to do that. The other thing that's changed as we age is when we were young, most of us focused solely on our cardio and our muscle strength. Those were the two areas. If you saw us at the gym, we were probably on a treadmill, or maybe we were in the weight room lifting weights. Well, unfortunately, those three things no longer hold true because your body's needs have changed. So a couple of things to think about is, first of all, cardio is just an element of fitness because there are 5 keys to healthy fitness that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. For a long time, we have thought of people who had cardiovascular health and were able to run or do endurance sports, didn't huff and puff a lot while they were active in their athletic movement. We thought of these people as the most fit people around. It's one component, but it's not the entire component. Nor is muscular strength. Now, this is Ernestine Shepard, and I love her. I think Ernestine is now about 74 years old, and she is a bodybuilder, and there is absolutely no doubt that she looks great. But muscular strength is one other part of those 5 key areas. The 5 key components to fitness, besides cardio and muscular strength, are muscular endurance. Now, muscular strength and muscular endurance are tied pretty closely together, but here's an easy way to think about it. Muscular strength is your ability to lift that 10-pound bag of grocery. Muscular endurance is lifting that bag and then carrying it across the parking lot to your car. So you need to have both. Another component that we tend to have a little bit greater ability at when we're younger are balance. Our balance is better, as well as our functional stability. And when I talk about functional stability, I'm just simply saying our ability to move around in our world. As we age, it tends to decrease. And then the last thing is flexibility and mobility. So that's about our muscles and our joints. As our bodies change, the processes and our joints change, our tendons change, and we tend to become less flexible. Now, you combine the flexibility and the balance, those are things that can cause us problems as we continue to stay active. So when I first started losing weight, the very first thing I did was I was walking. My husband was my walking partner, and he and I walked 3 times a week. And I have to tell you, it was tough. It was hard for me to do. As you saw, John was quite a bit taller than I am. If you notice in that picture, he's about 6'2", and he has super duper long legs, and it was hard for me to keep up with him. So we started walking 3 nights a week. Now, as painful as that was initially, eventually I got to the point where I could do that relatively easy. That's when I had to hit the gym to see additional change. Now, I used a trainer because for a variety of reasons, which I'll share with you at a later point in time, but I used a trainer. And one of the things that I did with that trainer is she was always challenging me in a variety of ways. We used a Bosu ball, which is a stability advice. We used stability balls. We used free weights. We used hand weights. We used a variety of different things to challenge and change my body. And for me, that was one of the greatest times of change that I have ever had physically, because the workouts were always different. So as you keep these 5 key components of fitness in mind, if you want to create a foundational habit that changes your body, you need to create workouts that challenge your body without hurting your body. Now, unfortunately, most of us don't do that. Do you have a Fitbit? If you do, put a yes, type a yes over in the chat box. I think it's very rare. We don't seem to wear watches anymore. Some of us, our Fitbit has now become our watch, but most people have a Fitbit. And there's a couple interesting statistics about Fitbits. First of all, it generally becomes a watch within 6 months. And the reason why is because people don't see a lot of change. Okay, Bill has told us, he says, yes, he has a Fitbit. I want to ask you a question, Bill. I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. I truly hope you don't mind. Do you ever change your goal settings on the Fitbit? And if you don't want to share, I completely understand. Because you know what? I had a Fitbit for a long period of time and I set it to 10,000 steps. And that is where it stayed for I don't know how long. It just stayed there. Well, my body became very used to 10,000 steps. If I wanted my body to change, I had to do things differently. I had to change what was going. No, still 10K steps. Well, Bill, you and I are in the same boat together. So what should we do? Well, the answer here is pretty easy. Create challenging and diverse workouts. You've got that Fitbit, change it. You don't have to go from 10,000 to 20,000 steps. How about 10,000 to 10,100 steps? Once you've done 10,100, how about 10,200? And so on and so forth. Another way to change workouts can be through walking. And when I went through and I looked at workouts and some of the ways that workouts have changed, I created some guides to help with changing workouts. Many of us begin, and just as I did, with a walking program because it's a very safe way. Chances are we're not going to get hurt by walking. It's a safe way to start a program, especially if we've been on a long layoff. But again, we fall into that habit of we walk the same route at the same pace. If we want to up our fitness, we need to change that walking workout. Now, if you're somebody who is pretty active and you've got a good cardio base, then I want to challenge you with high intensity training and Tabata training. High intensity training means working out for very short periods of time at an extremely high heart rate. Now, studies have shown that high intensity training is the most effective training no matter what your age. In fact, there was recently a study published where it focused solely on 70-year-old men, and they found that by doing a 20-minute high intensity interval level, they had greater calorie burn and better health benefits throughout the whole entire day. So high intensity training and Tabata training for somebody who is doing a lot of cardio. And I know that some of you know about this because we love to play pickleball, but some of you may not. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the country for people who are over the age of 60. And the wonderful thing about pickleball is it combines not only cardio activity, it does have muscular strength. You need to be strong in the legs. You're using your upper body because you have got a paddle. So there are a lot of wonderful things about playing pickleball around as well. So if these are something that interests you, make sure you stick around to the end, and I am going to show you how you can get your own copy to help you to up your activity level. But that is point number 2, is if you're still doing the same activity level that you were doing even 6 months ago, change it up. Do something different. Okay, so we've got 2 down, and now we're getting into key ingredient number 3, which is lifestyle. And I have to tell you, this is really the most complex and truly the most challenging because there are so many segments of lifestyle. So today I'm gonna tell you about the couple that are really important, but I want to focus on one. So the things that are important is how much sleep we get, how much water, hydration we get, and how we control our stress. Those are the things that help us to build foundational habits. But I think the one thing that I want to focus on today, and the reason I want to focus here is I know that it is the biggest bang for your buck. This is the one that's going to give you the most results the quickest. It is your thinking. If there was one area that I could say most health and fitness programs fall far short in, is changing your mindset. And so if you're the person who is thinking about, if you heard that word motivation back in the beginning, come on back. This is where you really want to pay attention. Since I've been able to lose and maintain that 100-pound weight loss for the last 14 years, I can tell you from a personal point of view that it is not just about nutrition and exercise. Yes, they play an important and a very key role. But how you think about your body and your fitness is what is either going to get you fit or keep you fat. And just like the myths around dietary fats and some of the myths that we have around our fitness, we often blame our motivation. How many times have you caught yourself saying, well, I'm just not motivated to do that, or, oh man, I want to go to the gym, but I want to eat right, but, and it's always filled with buts. Well, here's what I got to tell you. It is not about motivation. I'm going to say that one more time. It is not about motivation. Follow me for a minute because I want to take you in a journey that goes beyond our perception of motivation. And I want to take you into our thinking because that's where our long-term foundational habit for fitness must change. It has to change inside of our thoughts. I think we could all agree that your actions create your results. If you eat healthy food, chances are you have a healthy body. If you exercise on a regular basis, chances are you have some level of fitness. So I think everyone here could agree that your actions dictate your results. The greater question becomes, we know that working out will give us a healthier body. We know that eating better or skipping that glass of wine will give us a more will provide us better nutrition for our body. So why do we choose to go against the things that we know will get us the result that we say that we want? Well, frankly, it's pretty simple. It lies inside of how we think. How we think creates feelings. Those feelings create reactions, and those actions create results. So again, if I'm not taking the right actions, I need to dive deeper into what I feel and then what I think. Let me give you a little bit of an example. Now, have you ever been there standing in front of your refrigerator door? You don't know how you got there, why you're there, what happened, but you are standing there staring into the refrigerator. You're not even sure you are hungry, but you are looking at all these goodies in this refrigerator, deciding what it is that you want to eat. When I left that corporate career and I started working from home as a health and fitness coach, I would find myself working in my office, working away at the computer. And of course, everything was new to me. I'd worked in a corporate environment. Working at home was new. The health and wellness field was still new to me. So I was doing a lot of learning. And I'd be sitting here working away at my computer. And all of a sudden, I found myself staring in the refrigerator. Well, I don't know about you, but when CJ's staring in the refrigerator, CJ is probably going to get something out of the refrigerator and put it in her mouth. Well, it didn't take more than a couple of weeks where I noticed that my pants were starting to get a little bit tighter. And I was like, what is going on here? I had to stop and I had to think about the actions that were leading me. What was happening that I was ending up in the fridge? What were the feelings? Well, I was sitting at my computer and, I had a successful corporate career and I was very proficient at what I did. And here I was in this brand new space and things were different. I wasn't as proficient. I didn't always know the right action. There were times that I floundered. Perhaps you can relate to that, just really not knowing. That created a feeling of bewilderment and frustration. And it was all because I couldn't keep my processes straight. And then I would walk away and end up in the fridge. Now, I had to look at that a little bit more deeply because when I was in the corporate world, I always walked away. Whenever I got frustrated with something that I was doing, I got up and I walked away. It was a good habit for me. It allowed me to clear my mind. But in the corporate world, my refrigerator wasn't in the room right next door. I could get up and I could walk around the golf course and I could go all over the place and talk to a variety of people. Here I was just walking aimlessly into the kitchen. I needed to take a hard look at my thoughts and my feelings. So whenever I was feeling frustrated and I was working, what I needed to do is I needed to change that thought. How about changing it from, oh man, I need to get this done, to I'm learning a lot. This is part of the process. I want to be as good in this field as I was in my corporate field. And these are the dues that I have to pay to be able to do that. So what do? When we aren't sure, when we are not getting the actions and the results, we need to grab a piece of paper and we need to write it down. What action are you not taking? What's the feeling behind it? And what's the thinking behind it? Because we need to change the thoughts and the feelings that'll start to create the different actions, and that'll get you the result. And that to me is one of the biggest things that has changed my journey, is understanding my thinking, being able to change the emotional eating, and to really put this all together. Not just food, not just exercise, not just lifestyle, that it's a total package. So now, if you jumped on this webinar because you're ready to take control of your health and fitness, and you wanted to get started in the right direction, or maybe you got on this webinar today and you realize the decisions you make today are going to affect your health and well-being tomorrow, or perhaps you don't want another year to pass without changing your health and fitness, and you really don't have time to waste. You need solutions that work now, and you need things that fit into your busy life. I want to introduce you to the program that I created, which is Fit After 50. It is a predictable step-by-step method to help you to learn to manage your weight, to get fit without all the overwhelm and the confusion and the frustration that often accompany that. So let me give you a little look inside as to what some of the things that we cover. We take a deep dive into nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle. I show you how to calculate all of these things that we've talked about on this webinar today, and really to take them and to build the foundational habits that you need to stay fit and healthy for the rest of your life. Now, inside these modules, everything is already done. It's waiting for you. You can go at your own pace. If you're somebody who, wow, I need to get started yesterday because I am so focused on changing my health and fitness this coming year. I need to get focused on this. You can go at your own pace. You can go fast or you can go slow. Because you have lifetime access to this, you can download and you can save all of the materials. The access is yours forever. It's going to play on any device, so you can take this with you. I have video files and I have audio files, and as well as printed resources and a variety of PDFs to help you to cut through all of the confusion and to build a personalized program that grows and changes with you over time. So let me walk you through a few of the details. The first place we start is I start you off with a program guide. I have spent some time sitting down and saying, here's how you get the most out of your program. These are the things that you need to do, how you allot it into your week, and the step-by-step look of all the modules and how to get the most out of the modules. Now, before you dive into those, one place we need to do is we need to really look at getting started, because this is the foundation from which all things are built. You can't start a journey without knowing where you're at. And that involves taking stock of where you're at, maybe how you got there, and setting up some plans so that when the road gets rough, because anytime we make some change, our minds want to fight back. Anytime we make some change, we're going to get resistance, internal resistance, which to me is the worst kind. We're going to get internal resistance. But here's where we start to set together and put into motion plans that'll help you to get past that internal resistance. Once we get you started, we dive into nutrition and we talk about how to calculate those macros, how to make sure that you're getting your ideal sugar intake. We get a little deeper into the calories and have a better understanding so that you can put together a personalized program that works the best for your body. Once we go past the nutrition, we're going to look at those 5 key components of fitness and making sure that you put those into your routine. And you don't have to be that all or nothing person that I used to be. We can add the different components to fitness inside of your day in the amount of time you have by understanding exactly how to do it and creating workouts that challenge you. If your workout challenges you, you don't need to spend as much time doing it. I also share with you the resources and the support that you might choose to apply to help you to stick to your plan. Mindset. This is probably the most robust section of the whole entire program because, as I told you before, I believe there's a lot of great nutritional programs out there. I think there's some great fitness programs out there, but most of the programs miss the mark when we talk about lifestyle and mindset habits, because that is where your everlasting change, that's the core. In here, we're going to talk about meal planning. And I break down meal planning actually pretty easy. Meal planning is having a meal ready before you're hungry. And I give you a variety of ways to accomplish that so you can pick what best suits your lifestyle. We need to talk about getting enough sleep and hydration because, especially as we're getting older, we tend to slack off on both of those. We all have busy lives. And right now, life seems to get busier and busier and busier. You need to find it. If you're going to stick to something, you need to find a way to make it fit. And that's one of the reasons that I have been able to stay on this plan for 14 plus years is I have found a way to make it fit. I have taught this to many clients over the last several years, and they are able to incorporate what they need to do in a busy lifestyle within about 15 minutes a week of planning. And that's the system that I share with you. And then lastly, we start to dive into the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions so that you get the results that you have been looking for. Food can be very emotional, and it has certainly changed in our society. And we need to get down to the core of how you think about your food and your fitness and how you think about your life to make those everlasting changes. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I shared with you there were some bundles. So I have some bonuses for you. So I've taken some time and put together some complete guides to help guide you through upping your fitness levels and making sure that you get exactly what you need. As you look at that nutritional side, I mentioned this a little bit before. This is a fast action bonus. So this ebook, which I wrote actually last year, the ebook was the precursor to this entire project. I wrote this first. The ebook shares with you the simple ways and simple tactics and things you can do to incorporate healthier choices into your life. A healthy lifestyle are small choices. The next right choice, one at a time, at a time, at a time, done over a period of time. So if you're thinking that you're ready to join, let me tell you a little bit about the 2 plans. So there's 2 plans. The first one is the Silver Plan, and you get instant access to the Silver Plan. It's $197. And again, that's lifetime access. And that includes everything that I just mentioned. Now, there's also a Gold Plan because I realize that some people like to have a little bit more information and a little bit more support. And the Gold Plan is designed for those of you who would like that support. So let me tell you about the additional things inside of the Gold Plan. So the very first thing we do is we do 3 personal coaching calls with me. These are 15-minute calls where we sit down and we make sure that we are getting you started on the right plan. All of us are better at certain things than others. I've found that some people have great nutritional knowledge and maybe not enough fitness knowledge. Some people have great fitness and nutritional knowledge and don't have the mindset knowledge. By sitting down and having these calls with you, I can best help you to understand where it is that you could use my support. And then we start to take what's already in Fit After 50 and make it even more personalized to you. So you get 3 of these 15-minute coaching calls, and I encourage most people to use them as a getting started as well as a check-in process. So over a 2-month period from now through the end of February, you can have those 3 calls. The other thing, because I want to make sure, even though this is a step-by-step process and you can certainly do the program all on your own, all by yourself, even though this is a step-by-step process, I'm do a weekly live coaching session. It's a video session. It's live with me. I have the schedule already pre-planned, and you'll be able to open that up and put that right into your planner, and you can ask questions. And I generally plan an hour. Sometimes it takes longer. So I'm happy to stay until all of the questions are answered. But this will go for 6 weeks. Again, this will go to the end of February. Now, during these video sessions, don't be afraid if you happen to miss one because of a scheduling problem. You'll be able to ask questions ahead of time. You'll be able to post those questions beforehand, and I will answer them during the video. Or if you can't make it, you will be able to listen to the video afterwards and get all of the information. Because what I have found is that it's not just about me. In my coaching groups, there are so many resources from other people. I learn from you. You will learn from each other, and having the support of multiple people who are on the same journey is invaluable. And then lastly, on that support, it's a private members only Facebook group. So this is invite only. It is only for people who are in Fit After 50. It is built on community support. As I said, I would expect you to be in this group and to be active and checking and sharing. But one of the other things, and this is a bonus, I am going to show up live in this group every single day from now until the end of February. So that's really almost 8 weeks of support to help to make sure that you have gotten off on the right foot. So 2 different plans. I also want to share with you, I've put a lot of work into this, and I want to make sure that you know I take it very seriously. I do offer a 60-day money back guarantee. Now, you do have to do the work in this. I am going to tell you, this is a tight refund policy. But if you get in this program, you do the work, and you're still not satisfied with the results, I'll offer you your refund. Again, as long as you can show me that you've done the work and you put the effort into that. And the reason that I do it that way is because I'm really looking to attract people who are committed to changing things inside of your life. So I'm about ready to go into our question and answer session. And so you can start to get your questions ready, but we're kind of getting now down to the decision time. And I'm going to put up here, I'm going to put up the offer with a link to the offer, so that if it's something you want to see more about, you can just go ahead and click the link that's been coming up above. But you can make 2 different decisions, really. You can skip Fit After 50, and chances are you're going to probably be in the same place, same time next year. Or you can commit to joining us on this journey and really getting healthy and fit once and for all. So again, there's the 2 plans. There's the silver plan at $197 or the gold plan at $397. So I want to make sure I've got as much time as needed. I want to make sure that I get all of your question answered, how you can take these 3 strategies and apply them, apply them into your life. So go ahead and you can type those into the chat box. I did want to share that a few of the questions that I am often asked is, how much time will this program take to complete? I've tried to break the sessions down into very simple sessions. Most of the videos are, actually all of the videos are less than 15 minutes long. Now, some of the work, there's worksheets that go along with each and every video. Some of the worksheets will take you time to complete. So I suggest to most people that as they go through this, they set aside, an hour to 2 hours during the course of the week to really get into the program, to watch the videos, to perhaps listen to the audios, transcripts that go along with it, and understand the foundational habits, and then start doing the work behind it. Now, some people, as I said, are going to come with great nutritional knowledge and a lacking of fitness knowledge. So you may find yourself spending more time in one section than the other. That's completely normal, completely natural. So again, that's one of the things that I'm often asked. Make sure you go ahead, if you've got some questions, make sure you go ahead and put your questions up. Another question that is frequently asked is, how is this program different? And I hope that I have shared throughout this that there's a couple of things. First of all, is it's designed for your changing body. When my body started to change, after age 50, actually it started changing about 47 when I ended up with a thyroid condition. As my body started to change in my late 40s and into my early 50s, and I started looking for additional resources because I was already a certified personal trainer and I was a weight management coach, even though I hadn't yet jumped off to do this as a business. Even though I was there, the resources for people our age were limited. It was kind of like we were forgotten. And so many of these things I had to take and do either very in-depth research or create some things on my own. So that's what makes this program unique, along with the mindset. There are a lot of people who coach weight loss and weight management. Very few of them have ever been on their own personal weight loss journey for the length of time. As I said, it's 14 plus years for me in terms of time. And over the years, definitely mindset and weight management, the whole program is something that has changed. And I think they touch on that vaguely at best, is what I would say. So I think that's what makes Fit After 50 different. So I'm not seeing any questions come up yet. I'm going to wait just one more minute or two. I would encourage you, I hope that you have taken a lot of notes and that you write down these notes. And when we're done here, I want you to pick one thing, one strategy, the one that spoke to you the most. And I want you to start implementing that tomorrow. With that, I thank you so much for so much for the time that you have shared with me tonight. I look forward to continuing this journey with you and seeing you in Fit After 50. If you have any questions after this webinar has ended, please reach out to me at cj@agewellwithcj.com. Again, that's cj@agewellwithcj.com, and I would be happy to answer them. Best of luck to you on your fitness journey. I'll see you on that road soon.